It's going down like this, motherfucker.
This shit is crazy. The following
Nigga get mad. Say, motherfucker, what you mean you ain't gonna let me in this funky joint? Much money I done spent in here, nigga. I knew your mama when she was horn. Hump, baby. Shit, bet I do it over time. Say that, nigga. Shit. Bar, back the bar, off time. Shit, boy, I'm trying to make me some money. Boy, I'm hungry as a hog needs slop Jesus. Shit, gotta be a Jesus, cause too many black folks.
My bitches. You saying you can't control your bitches? What? You got to have vision.
Limousine, and every time I'm seen, I got to be clean.
Would you like to dance with me? We're doing the cosmic swap.
For what he has, he says that the only way that we can solve our problem is to unite together among ourselves, among our own kind, clean ourselves up, rid ourselves of the evils that we've become addicted to here in this society, and try and...
Yes, he destroy black boys. If you destroy him as a boy, he'll never become a man. Yes, he destroy black boys. Yes, he destroy black boys. If you destroy him as a boy, he'll never become a man.
This ain't loud enough. I'm still trying. This ain't loud enough. I'm still trying.
I just left a light in this bitch. I'm finna hit the shop in this shit.
You hear what I said?
Yes, bitch, I heard you. I'm pretending like I didn't.
Yeah, well. Gotta get a piece of my
Hey, where are the white women at?
Joe Visa. He looked down, seen his feet, the nigga went berserk, killed the monkey, threw the bat out the window, start kicking that bitch in the air.
Say anyway, but I will. The way quantum entanglement works is that you can take two particles, quantum entangle them, and then take those two particles and move them at any distance in the cosmos. And let's just say, for example, if you quantum entangle two electrons and you have them spinning in the same direction, and then you take one of those electrons and you shoot that thing out 100,000 light years from the original. If you then rotate the spin on the one electron, if you modify it so that its spin changes, the quantum entangled electron at any distance will simultaneously in no time switch its rotation also, because they're quantum entangled. So these communication systems are taking advantage of this aspect of quantum mechanics that most people can't wrap their heads around, and this is what they're utilizing. It's just the new level of science that affords us the ability to communicate at any distance instantaneously.
You don't understand. It's cool enough just being cool, like I am.
Group of you together, you never can tell who's who. I've seen a lot of black guys, Nipsey, but you're overdoing it.
My eye, plus I'm in love with a bitch I can't stand.
I mean, TikTok. A lot of the white content creators on TikTok get all of their dances from the black content creators.
You're a philosopher? Yes. You're a philosopher? Yes. You're a philosopher? Yes. I think very deeply. I think very deeply.
First you tell us that it is manly to keep your word. All right? If you are a man, you keep your word. And now all that the black people in this country are demanding, and even the black people in the whole world are demanding, is that you keep your word. You told us we were free. Well then, show us that we're free. You told us that there is justice, equality for all in this country. Well then, stick to your word. And let us see the justice and equality for all. Or else admit to us that you're not a man, you're a worm, you're afraid of us, you're afraid to give us equal stand. You're afraid that if you give us equal ground, that we will match you and we will override you. And if that's what you're afraid of us, then tell us that's just what you're afraid of. But don't keep hiding it from us and holding this up to us, and every time we ask you for something, you give us a little bit of something, and it's all tokenism. We don't want tokenism. And there are most black men in this world that don't want charity. And yet still every time we ask you for something, you give us a little piece, a little piece. You're playing games with us. We're not children. We're big men. I've seen my father have to put up with all kinds of stuff. He was a big man. He raised a family. He went down south, and he had to go around to the back door with his wife. We're not asking for anything. We're not asking for any favors. All we want is what's ours. Now, there are many black veterans who are coming back, and they're mad. They're angry. Do you think that they're going to sit down through this? Our fathers didn't have the knowledge that we had. They sat through it. But there are other black youth that are not going to sit through it. We know about Che. We know about Fanon. We've read the books of our revolution. We've listened to Mao and his quotations. We know where we stand. We're not going to sit for it. We're asking, and if we ask and we don't get, we're prepared to stand up and take it. If I ask a man, I tell a man I am hungry. I tell him I am cold. And I ask him to do something about my condition. And this man holds a loaf of bread right in front of me so I can see it, and I keep asking him, I'm begging him to please give me a slice of the loaf of bread. I am hungry. Then it is known by every psychologist that the next step in the progression is I am going to knock him upside the head and take the bread from him. I'm not going to starve to death.
Dance with me. Dance with me.
Physical and mental torture. But that's all right, because we said even before this happened, and we're going to say it after this, and after I'm locked up, and after everybody's locked up, that you can jail revolutionaries, but you can't jail a revolution. Right. You might run a liberator like Eric Cleave out the country, but you can't run liberation out the country. You might murder a freedom fighter like Bobby Hutton, but you can't murder freedom fighters. The party that they can do anything they want to us. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips that I am a revolutionary. And you're going to have to keep on saying that. You're going to have to say that I am a proletarian. I am the people. I'm not the pig. You've got to make a distinction. And the people are going to have to attack the pigs. The people are going to have to stand up against the pigs. That's what the pastors are doing. That's what the pastors are doing all over the world.
I mean,
Damn white boys out there. Most of them is psychopaths and all that. They'll kill your mama's mama. And you...
Decent white folk that still don't know they're racist.
What the hell you want here, hunky? You got to pray to God and tell God your rent due. Any God that didn't know your rent was due ain't God.
Some people, they feel like you almost have to sell your soul to get fame, or is it just hard work, or is it luck, is it consequence, is it?
No, most of us done sold our soul. We just called it something else.
Hmm.
What's all that noise? Oh, that's just Daddy.
Come with baggage, just I asked the way what's on. Ooh.
I like that.
Yeah, that was nice.
I like that.
Bitch niggas, hoe niggas, rich niggas, broke bitch. I told niggas this was on, yeah, right.
The Chinese platform, you already know they don't give a fuck about your black ass. And
Those
they
lines are still open. Oh shit, you can get it, nigga. You wanna get it?
I think we OD. I think we OD.
My word, can't be my equal, don't know what you heard.
Used to snort cocaine, now I fiend for the check, yeah.
Heavy, I'm a walking dead man, is what they call me when I'm coming. I hit the loop juice and pulls up in the deuce. Heavy, I'm a walking dead man, is what they call me when I'm coming. I hit the loop juice and pulls up in the deuce.
I guess you go to the history of European civilizations. 250 years is how long they last before they implode, because of their greed, because of their violence, because of an inability to let others be, including themselves. If they didn't have brown and black people to hate, they would hate themselves.
No idea the condition that we're in, the psychoneurosis that we suffer. We suffer terrible, terrible blight. We don't know who we are. We use European names, and we just are comfortable with our condition. We really don't know who we are. We have no idea. We're captive, and we absolutely comfortable with this situation.
Greetings. This is Big Pontiac, and welcome to the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am the holder of the infinite sacred ball game that was created by the Hero Twins, and I am that one and only galactic daddy-o welcoming each and every one of you to my galactic patio that reaches from Minnesota to the universe. Well, welcome. Sound loud. Welcome to, if you don't know who I am, I go by a lot of different names, but this is the Chocolate Mountain Show. I guess I should tell you that first. And welcome to the Chocolate Mountain Show, where I give my insights on a bunch of different shit. It's never just one thing. I philosophize, I talk sports, I talk gear, I talk relationships, lifetime. So whatever kind of your thing is, I might touch on what your thing is a little bit. Now, I might offend some motherfuckers. There's no doubt about that, because I'm an offensive-ass motherfucker. You know, it's like I speak my mind. I don't pull any punches. Tell you how the fuck I feel. So, that's for sure. But anyway, welcome to tonight's show. And what's up? So, Dr. Sinister is in the house.
You can't get too close to Michael, it's a foul.
And we see El Dragon, Amaroon Khan, and the Calm.
You can't get too close to Michael, it's a foul.
Anybody else is out there, welcome.
You can't get too close to Michael, it's a foul.
welcome. So how's everybody's time off? I mean, Friday was a motherfucker, wasn't it? It's like Thursday was cool, but Friday was really cool. You know, that for you working people to have that extra day off that ain't Saturday, and and have all Friday to fuck around. I mean, that I got a lot of stuff done. Shopping wise, I only bought a couple things. I only bought about 4 things. Ordered some shit. I'm gonna order some more shit tomorrow, but that's it. Didn't really put a lot of effort in a lot of different things. And I'll say one thing about this is like we have a fairly big Nike outlet, and wasn't nothing new in there. They stocked this shit. What they stocked on Tuesday was all they stocked. I did not see any new stock in there from the previous Tuesday. So from Tuesday and Friday, it was like them all black Air Jordans, the blue ones, and I think the blue and green ones. That was what they reshelved those, and what they had is all they had of that shit. It was gone. But the line must have been the line, like if you know where the back wall is on the outlets, where the back line is of where the men are, because that's a little closer to register. But it was like the line was all the way into the back of the store for the same old bullshit that I've been seeing since Tuesday. Nothing new. The prices weren't less. Let me say that again. The prices weren't less. They were the same price as they was the days before. Because I was just up in that motherfucker Tuesday or maybe even Wednesday. I forget. Maybe it was Wednesday I went there. Nothing new. Nothing new. Same shit. Same trying to get rid of the old tech, the red, the gray, the red, gray, and the black. That's what they was trying to get rid of. Nothing was new in there. None of the gear was really new gears. Gear that's been in there for a minute, and yet it was packed. Went in Adidas, wasn't any new Adidas. The Hardings, last model Hardings in red, still sitting. Them 13s I thought somebody bought. Nope, they were still sitting. No really new clothes. Now, as I said, Filsum only had 30% off. The jacket I wanted was $3.95. With 30% off, it was still two something. And I got 15 winter coats. So I'm not gonna pay that much. I could see if they would have knocked off out of $3.95, if they'd have knocked off 50%, it'd have put it closer to about $2.20. I could have saw that. I could have paid that, but I wasn't going. I could have paid closer to $2. I'd have been more comfortable paying $2. Because it's about getting the best deal out of clothes. It's getting the best deal. So it was nothing really new. Had a good time with my friends, and as I think if I didn't mention, yeah, there are not a lot of great cooks in my wife's family. Yeah, it's not a lot of great cooks. And they didn't want my mother to cook her world famous macaroni and cheese, so she made me some on the side. I try not to eat a whole lot of noodles anyway, but her macaroni and cheese is kind of the bomb. It's the best ever. It's better than Kraft. It's better than Cracker Barrels. So she made that, and she made some dressing with sausage in it, which was pretty good. I don't eat a whole lot of pork. I don't eat ham. Thursday, I ate a very little bit of turkey, maybe one little piece, mostly ate. I made greens, and it takes too long to boil greens. As I said, I'll just get cans. And I got 3 big cans of Glory of turnip greens, mustard greens, and regular greens. And so, 3 cans, the pot, it was like this much deep in the pot. And the pot was only like this. And they ate most of it. I was quite surprised. What I did is I baked some bacon, put a bunch of garlic and all that stuff in there, but baked some bacon, and I put a little bit of bacon grease and stirred it up in the greens, and then I cut the bacon up and put that all on top. I did kind of make a mistake because we had one family member that doesn't eat pork, and I should have made her some greens without meat in it. But yeah, it was one of the hits of the thing. I was like, oh, okay. And my mother made cornbread, and she makes the sweet kind of cornbread. So, so it was good fellowship, being with the family and just chilling. We watched the 2 games over. Well, I watched the Detroit game here because Detroit game came on. I think it's 11. So I watched the Detroit game here, and then I watched one game over there. And then the Miami game I caught on my phone going home, so, and then watched most of that game at home. But let me, I always start off Sundays telling you in football, and I'm telling you, I don't use any gematria. I don't use anything but my own keen sense of awareness in football. And let me tell you, on the holidays, I went undefeated. I went 5-0 on the holidays. I went 4-0. I won all 3 games on Thursday. I won the game on Friday. And even though now this is what was fucked up, and maybe I'm wrong, but my understanding, even my best friend Tony, he said his understanding was the football game was coming on at 6 our time. That was some bullshit. The game came on at 2 o'clock. And it was so much college basketball that I was watching a bunch of college basketball. So I missed the game. I must honestly say I missed the game. So I didn't get to see the game, even though I won. And so this was my, again, we're not including tomorrow's night's game, but this has been my best week ever. I went 13-1 this week. As I said, I swept the holidays. Lions, Cowboys, Packers, Chiefs, Texans. The only game I lost this week was the Pats. That's the only game I lost. And then we got the Broncos. Tomorrow night. And so 119 and what? Ten is 120. No, so I'm at 130. So, okay. I'm just at, I'm at, what is that? 130, 32. Yeah. I'm at 132 and 56. 132 and 56, right? Yeah. 132 and 56 this year for the year. And then, I'm either at the worst, I'm going to be 13-2. At the best, I'm going to be 14-1. So this has been my best week yet. And I tell you, the Eagles kicked the Ravens' ass. And it really would have been a blowout, but if y'all noticed, they didn't call holding on the Ravens not one time. And they held almost every play. They was holding. And that's what's interesting. When players know they're not going to get called for holding, they do it the whole game. And they don't even hide that they do it. And it makes it difficult for the replay people, because the replay people see it. And if you know what you're looking for, you see him hook the people. Like when he starts scrambling, his right tackle would always hook a person, hold him so he could get outside. And it would have been a blowout if they'd have called all them holding penalties against the Ravens. But even the way it was, they stopped Henry. Now they talk about the player for the Eagles, the running back, his name will come to me, Barkley. They talk about Barkley breaking Eric Dickerson's record, but let's not forget Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson was, 2,105? Adrian Peterson was 2,098, 99. They purposely stopped Adrian Peterson for breaking that record, if y'all remember. They stopped him. They stopped him from breaking the record. He was 8-9 yards short. If you remember, he has the second all-time for a season, but he was only 6 to 8 yards. He was less than 10 yards short of breaking the record. So if they wanted him to break the record, they would have let him break the record. So when they say Barkley might break the record, I doubt it. And like I don't use gematria. I don't look up all these numbers. I look up the matchups. I look at who's injured, look at where they playing, who's playing how. And, the only 2 really emotional picks I do is with the Vikings and the Eagles. I roll with them no matter what. And I'll say, the Eagles didn't really, the Vikings really didn't play great today. Their defense saved them again. But they're not really protecting, the court of Donaldson like they should, but they just don't have anything on the other side, so. And then Kirk Cousins is coming out with the Cardinals. I don't know. They had some costly turnovers. And so kind of would have been probably a nice game to go to, because it would have probably been a little cheaper. So maybe next week, I don't know. I don't know if we're going to make next week game or not. So yeah. So yeah, that was my week. I think I got to write the scores down for next week. I had put like 3 weeks in a row, so I didn't write them down. But that's how my week was. So Dion and them really got a tough break. They lost the games. They needed to beat Kansas for them to get in the Big 12 playoff. They didn't do it. It's funny how Georgia kind of dropped because of their loss. The big one was Ohio State. And they already came and said they're not suspending any of the players, which would have affected Ohio State more adverse than would have helped Michigan. So that makes me wonder, what they got in store for Ohio State, because right now, Ohio State, their coach, he ain't beat Michigan in 4 years, and that's like Alabama, Auburn. You get fired for not, a whole class, one whole class. So really, how you have to judge a coach is a coach should get 4 years, because that's a whole class. And he's been there 5 years, and he's only beat Michigan that first year. He has not. He's lost 4 years in a row, and he lost to this dude twice, because this dude was intern coach, if you remember. Last year when he beat him, he was the intern coach. So he's beaten this dude, this dude has lost 4 times, in the last 5 years. So it makes me wonder, what do they have in store? Now, then, for the Big Ten Championship, we're going to have Penn State, right? Penn State playing Oregon, which should be a pretty good game. And it's funny what Dion said, in Florida State getting blowed out in that conference game, and then never, what did they end up? 2-10, 2-11, something like that this year. They never recovered from it. And that's what Dion was saying. He was like, some of the programs ain't did well. So I think Hunter should win the Heisman, not to say the other guy hasn't done well for Boise State. I mean, they're going to be in the playoffs. And that's what I've said all along. The reason why they don't want the playoffs, they do not want a team like Boise State to win the championship. But now, in the NIL money, that's what it's about. It's about who can pay that bread to the best players, like it should be. It should have always been like that. And so eventually they're going to have to open up almost like the NFL. Let NFL lets what is it, 15 teams, 16 teams become eligible, where you got the 4 conferences. You've got the 4 conference champions. You have the 2, 3 wild card teams. So they let about 7, 8 teams in, don't they? Yeah, now to think about it, they let about 7, 8 teams in, because you got the 4 conference games, and then you got the wild card. So we'll see how it goes, but that's the biggest thing. And now it's it's a free for all. Whoever can pay that dough to get the best players, so be it. That's how it should be. You can't just say that we're going to make an institution rich and only the administrators get rich and not the players. That is a type of slavery. And I don't hear that education shit. Right now, with players staying longer, education is a given. You still got to get your grades to play. And so now when they're talking about unlimited eligibility, that's great, because the longer you get, the more that you can get your degree, and you might not have to play pro that long. Because that's where it seems like most of the players get hurt, is in the pros. So, but changing the rules and everything has helped players, that you can't bang heads. And as I said, that was one thing in my generation I never understood. It's like coaches literally wanted to see players get hurt in practice. They practiced them so hard. Like we lost, the reason my last year in college was so bad, because we didn't really have a true quarterback. He should have redshirted this one guy. He should have gave him an injury red shirt. He got hurt 2 years in a row. And then by the time it was his last year in school, he should have just been redshirted, and we would have had him that extra year, because we had everything else. But we'd have really had a steady quarterback. But our coach let the starting quarterback get hurt in practice, which was a freshman whose body wasn't really developed to take them hits. And I don't know. They just love that kind of thing. And I got the same feeling from my high school coach. And he would get mad at me. Like I'm like, they know what the play is. And you think I'm running a slant, and they know I'm running a slant? It's like, nah, I ain't doing that. I ain't trying to catch that. You're not getting me popped for no reason, for your glory. So I never understood that kind of thinking. So that's why it's cool a lot of them drills is put out. It's because of that. A lot of them drills should be put out because of that. Because it's, I don't know what it was. Why they thought that would make you a better team if you beat up your team. I just didn't get that. So, but yeah, so what's funny is football season, it makes the most money, but yet it's the shortest season. It makes the most money, but it has the least amount of games. You would think baseball with what is it, 180, 160 games? You would think baseball makes the most money, but it doesn't. It's football by far. And most football stadiums are bigger than baseball stadiums too, but it's the amount of money generated. Like think of like when baseball travels, teams don't really travel with the baseball teams. Not really. Like when I saw, I think it was 18 or 19, when I saw the Eagles play here, so it must have been 18 season. And it was dudes from Philly sitting with us. And they say they travel with the team everywhere. They go wherever the team goes, they go there. So let me tell you how this is like one of the funniest things to me, y'all. I am being harassed, y'all. I am really being harassed. And if I told you who was harassing me, you wouldn't believe it. But I am being harassed like nobody else is harassing me. Like this is worse than a bill collector. And I'm being harassed by the shit in the box people. The shit in the box people send me multiple texts. They send me multiple emails telling me how I should hurry up and shit in the box. Like it's important that I shit in the box as soon as possible. Like is the box gonna blow up on me or something? Like I'm constantly getting texts, emails. I'm surprised I ain't had a motherfucker knock on the door and be like, well, if you shit in the box right now, I can take it with me. The way they hounded me so much, I would not be surprised if they be like, "Hey, just go up there and shit in the box, and I'll take it in my car." That's what it seems like. Why are you harassing me over shitting in the box? I will take my time and shit in the box when I have the time and the mood, and I put the box in there and gotta catch it, Because once I shit in the box, there's plenty of where that came from. So that's what I'm going through, y'all. They hassling me on a nigga. Researcher 2022, thank you.
You can't get too close to Michael, it's a foul.
Well, I'm glad that somebody got something out of it. Yeah, I'm glad. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm glad you got something out of it. Yeah, this was pretty good. This is the best week I've had. But every week, I've been getting it. But when I hit them 4 holiday games, I was like, ooh, I hit them holiday games and didn't even watch the Chief game, and that hit. And then to only take the L with the Pats, the Colts, come on, they've been playing terrible all year. And I've been rolling with the Chargers. So Seahawks had me worried, but I'm glad to see Rodgers going down. I'm glad to see him losing 9 in a row. He ain't the miracle man no more. But like I said, when the laughter dies in sorrow. Well, I was looking in the morbid news, and I hit this story, and this is the dude from the Harry Potter, and it says Harry Potter, this cat owes actor ordered to pay $2.3 million after losing legal dispute over taxes. So he owes 2.3 after losing to London. He was ordered to pay the amount in 19. Revenue and Custom investigated his returns from 2012. Representatives did not immediately respond. Customs argued that Grint had wrongly claimed approximately $5.7 in residuals from the Harry Potter film, earning from DVD sales, TV syndication, streaming rights, and other sources, as a capital asset rather than income, which is subject to a higher tax rate. His attorney initially appealed the ruling, but after years of back and forth, it drove rules against this actor this week. Said the money diverted substantially whole of its value from the activities is taxable as income. He opened about his filming Harry Potter series and revealed how he felt suffocating at times. There are times when it was quite suffocating, whatever, crying. When he was 13, so he had to pay that bread out. America, they'd put your ass in the jail for doing that shit. Be like, nigga, you didn't pay taxes. But think of it, it was almost a 10-year battle. Almost a 10-year battle. Okay, this is the morbid news. Some dude named Wayne Northrup. Y'all ever heard of Wayne Northrup? I don't even know who he played in Dynasty and Days of Our Lives. He was 77. Not very old. Dynasty and Days of Our Lives. He was 77. The soap opera star tells he died Friday at the motion picture in Wayward Home following his struggle with Alzheimer's, so he had kind of lost it. On set 6 years ago, he took his last breath in the arms of his family. Oh, they ain't gonna. Oh, maybe. No, they're not gonna tell more about him. Usually they got a whole story about these motherfuckers, but they ain't. This is a little bit. So this is the morbid news. So sorry to hear you, Mr. Wayne. We sorry that it happened, baby. I think we saw this cat. Yeah, we already talked about that last week. So, it's funny. What we'll start seeing, though, as these playoff games come, we'll start seeing the deaths, the athletes' deaths, the actors' deaths, and we'll start seeing them come up. And then, it is when the year passed, it'll be the entertainers' deaths leading up to the Grammys. We'll see the actors' deaths leading up to the Academy Awards. The man who lived with no brain. What is this? The man who lived with no brain. So there. Oh man, let me see if we can get into this. See if we can get into this. The man who lived with no brain. How do you know that a world that makes no sense? How do you exist when every second of your life is in an unsolvable puzzle? And these tiny bits you do manage to recognize come out. This was the life of Lev Zagrinsky, a man who suffered a brain injury fighting. How do you live in a world that makes no sense? The life of a man who suffered brain injury fighting World War II. The 3,000-page diary kept following his injury became one of the most valuable, insightful texts to study human brain and the history of biologicals. Science. Zatotsky suffered from aphasia, a disorder that impairs a person's ability to understand and communicate. His form of aphasia resulted in him being able to write, but not to read his own writing or even understand all what he had written. Damn, he could write and make sense, but he didn't know what the fuck he was writing. One of the Soviet accomplished neuropsychologists was assigned to care for him and found that the young soldier simply could not write and had suddenly become illiterate. He pinpointed injury to the second major block of the brain located in the posterior section of the large hemisphere. The portion of the brain, the entire job is to act as a block for receiving, processing, and retrieving information a person derives from the external world. The precise location of the shrapnel injury, is a very important function, had been seriously impaired. He could not immediately combine his impressions into a coherent whole. His world became fragmented. And that's how the world existed for Lev Zagrinsky, fragmented, but he didn't give up. His fascinating story and dauntless attitude can reframe our modern understanding of psychological history and language communication of the human spirit. Okay, no more about the motherfucker, huh? Okay. He got fucked up in the war. The nigga could write a book, but he couldn't tell you what he just wrote. It's like a woman gave you some booty and you got the booty and then you get done and you like don't remember that you got the booty. So that might intrigue you to get more booty. Be like, hey, you still here? Yeah. It's like, I wonder, like, cats really, I think cats see us as cats. Where we're gone, they figure we're out hunting and all that, but cats think we're cats. And so I just wonder, do they see us with the ears and shit too? Do you think that when the cats look at us, they just see us as just bigger cats that take care of them and feed them and shit and dig out their cat litters, And you live at their constant, wanting to be petted and give me attention. Not as bad as dogs, though. Not near as bad as dogs. Dogs are very needy. Oh, but it's been a great time off. My mother wanted to take her clothes to a consignment shop and helped her do that. Took a lot of shit, and they took her shit. So I was like, okay. And then when they sell the shit, they let you know how much they sell it for. These are coming out. They're the Kobe Air Force Ones. Hit or miss. Hit or miss. Hit or miss. I don't see the importance of these as more. And it's funny, of all the shoes that go on sale, these never go on sale. They stay the same price. That's why I'm surprised they even got Air Force Ones in the outlets, because the price never change. They're consistently the same amount. Oh, these is 130. Okay. Friday online shoppers can buy 130. Oh, okay. You gotta have that app to get into it. Okay, and I think you gotta pay for that app. But I don't know. I ain't in no hurry to get them motherfuckers. But speaking of clothes, how do you like this beautiful sweater? And this is a sweater I just bought. And the funny story is I was gonna buy this sweater early last week, but I found two other sweaters that I liked a little better. So I put this sweater, and I wasn't trying to hide it. I just from near the rack, I just put it in the nearest rack. Came back Friday and just happened to look, because my ring came back. I got my ring worked on, and it came back. And so anyway, looked, and the sweater was still there. And this is the price of the sweater. For it to show up. This sweater was $9, originally 50. And it's a club, what is it? Club court, whatever, the club room. Yeah, club room. They have one more, I think is the new men's line, that Finney line Macy's dropped. And they do one more, I think it's called. And then I showed before where Polo had 50% off in store. And so this is the Christmas gift I got my wife, because she said her aunt wore one of these, and it's not nice as my Calvin Klein shirting, but it's okay. This stuff is but her aunt had one that's all white. And so I bought this for my wife that's got the white and brown. I like this one a little more. And this was normally $248. The $248, and I got it for $125. Yeah, $125. And I don't know, I might get away without putting up a tree this year. My daughter ain't really said nothing, and normally, I don't really celebrate Christmas. I celebrate my family, but I don't really celebrate Christmas. And that was all the shopping I did. I ordered a couple hats. They had Kango, the 504 Kangos for $15. $15, y'all. $70 hats or $60 hats. Some are set 60 for $15. So I got a couple hats. So that was really all the shopping I did. Yeah. Yeah, so it's not really a whole lot going on. Huh. This is the Barones and G.I. Joe animated series. This lady did animation. How old was she? 84. Wow, she's around my mom's age. But we never, some of y'all might have known her. Who is Baroness? Oh, the Baroness. Okay, the chick who was the Baroness. And most y'all younger folks watch G.I. Joe, the cartoon series. This was the Baroness. Remember, she had like a German little accent. She was 84. She's like speculator home, Burbank. So she made good money. She lived out there. The voice is also portrayed in Aunt May and the Black Cat for the 81 Spider-Man. Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard her voice quite a bit. Okay. Moonracer, Firestarter, Transformer Center series. She did voice work on Total Recall. She came up with a European accent for the dark-haired Baroness and a sexy master of disguise and weapons. She voiced the terrorist G.I. Joe miniseries in 83, 84, and 89. So a lot of y'all probably heard her voice. You probably could still. Born in Cincinnati in 40. Also appeared of Primetime, Knots Landing, The Night Before. She also went to college, finished her bachelor's degree, and earned her master's at Cal State. All right. So y'all know her voice. Y'all was probably some G.I. Joe animated series watchers. I used to, hey, PJ Allen, what's happening?
You can't get too close to Michael, it's a foul.
So y'all might have known her. Oh, PJ, if you've been listening for a minute, you know, I went 11. I know I went 13-1 this week, if you haven't heard. 13-1 this week. Yeah. So had a pretty good week. The only good game I lost this week was the Pats. Then, you know, then the game tomorrow. And the game tomorrow. So the season's coming out pretty good. Pretty good. And made me a nice little chunk of steady flow of money. So, you know, if you guys can benefit off it, I hope you do. Hope you do. Because I never promised anything, you know. I just try to do my best and figure it out. That's all I try to do. That's all I try to do. You know, it's a lot of boring news in the world, which is a good thing. Because it could be a lot worse. Because, you know, all the shit going on in the world, there's 3 battles or 3 wars going on. We've got Syria, you know, lost another city today. So they're fighting on a different front. So it looks like they say Iran is behind it, but you never know who's behind in Syria. Because, you know, at one time in Syria, we had Department of Defense people fighting CIA people, you know, backed with American money. And these two groups are both backed with American monies. So that's how, you know, even the wars is crooked. You know, we had in Syria one time Department of Defense people fighting the CIA-backed people. So they're fighting each other, bombing each other, shooting at each other, all with American-made weapons, taxpayer weapons. So that's how crooked all this is. You know, that's how crooked all this system is. Now, what did they say? Tyson Fury signed to fight who? It says Oleg is retiring. Wow. Did y'all hear about that? That Oleg is retiring? I didn't hear about that. Where Oleg's retiring. So Anthony John is finished. So me to believe the British fighter suffered the 4th loss of his career back in September with battering in the hands of underdog. Okay, and it says, by taking a triple D originally penciled soon for the Walford man, having sustained injury during the encounter in a dominant manner, Dobe's suggests a victory wouldn't have done Joshua much good either way. A rematch. So Tyson Fury, okay. Now, so what's next for AJ? He's physically injured, mentally scarred by another stock defeat. The man may give a former Olympic champion. So this is clickbait. Oh, well, let's see. The biggest factor which may provide AJ with a path to modern back to contention is Urik's retirement. Joshua has little hope of beating Urik's having already lost belts to Ukrainian in 2 competitive defeats. But Urik's defeating Tyson Fury again this December rematch could prompt 3 different businesses, belt holders, to hang up his gloves for good. After selling his second win over AJ, Urik announced his wish to fight 3 more times before retiring. So retiring. So against Fury, freak showdown with Canelo and a farewell fight. I don't know. Canelo's kind of too light for him to fight. Jesse Kings make his 3rd fight since his comments. The Maverick doubled down by stating he wants to become a footballer following his 2 bouts with Fury. Usyk victory would therefore not only made vacate the belts, but more giving AJ another realistic shot. He can't take a punch. He can't take a punch. So we'll see when they fight again. What did they say? February? They're supposed to fight February. What was right here? Showdown. Where was it? Footballer. Fury and was expected to be. It was February 9th, wasn't it? Somewhere in February. Back up here, I thought. Go down. It was 22. For the Womack rematch, yeah, there's no reason for them to rematch. Huh, what did it say? Urix, AJ, Oh, okay. So they're fighting on the 21st? Oh, okay. Oh, so wow, a couple weeks, we got another big fight. All right. I see it. Okay. And that's why I trip all the people that was getting upset about the Tyson, the other fight, the Jake Paul fight. I mean, it was exhibition. All his fights were exhibition. So what are you getting mad about? I mean, it was never meant to, they never mixed it up. Tyson never was in there toe to toe with him trying to mix it up. Where he get hit hard in the body and he hit Tyson hard in the body. No. It was made for him to stay. It was a sparring session, expensive sparring session, but it was, good idea, good business. The way I look at it, it was real good business. Cooper Cap and Justice Hill messed me out of 5 G's underperformance. Oh, okay. Wow, I haven't really messed with too many of them yet. That's the tricky ones. Those kind of get tricky. Oh, did they get beat? Oh, they're back to this transgender athlete. I think this is just the end of a volleyball career. Played with likely the final game of her career Saturday night. Okay. But the last inclusion women team sparked controversy. Opponents did they win or lose? What did they do? Did they win? San Diego transfer power didn't end on the court. So it doesn't say. They must have lost. Doesn't say if they won or lost. I'm taking it there. They didn't say that she won, so I'm taking it that she lost. Yeah, I'm taking it that she lost. I don't know, I've said before, I just think they should have their own kind of league. I think that just makes sense. Set up a league just for them. I don't understand why they wouldn't. Researcher says the Tyson Paul fight was more than exhibition, though. It was sanctioned, so Mike has another loss on his overall record. It was sanctioned, but it still was an exhibition. It wasn't. It's like, okay, all his other fights been sanctioned too, because you have to have a license and a permit to box. So all his other fights were sanctioned. So, I mean, Mike, at this point, what does another loss on his record mean? Doesn't really mean anything at this point. So it was really still just it was still really just an exhibition. I have to, gracefully disagree with you. It was really still just an exhibition. And it was contracts to say what they could do to each other and, how aggressive that you could go. You could see where Tyson wanted to throw. That's why he's biting his thumb, because he didn't want to, he saw these openings where dude was leaving himself open. And what is this? Now, this is some bullshit when they want to bring out, it says that the NBA is preaching calm amidst many officiating crisis. What kind of officiating crisis? Carefully managing the challenges of officiating his team adapt to more physicality. Yeah, they're letting hand checking again. Implement change to address surging offense efficiency. Prior to the All-Star break, teams were scoring a record-breaking 115 per 100 possessions, surpassing the 22-23 efficiency. However, the adjustment scoring rate dropped, accompanied by sufficient decline in free throw attempts. Other metrics such as league-wide effective field goal percentage, offensive rebounding percentage also dipped slightly, while the turnover rate rose. These shifts prompted widespread debate among players, coaches, and analysis of how evolving officiating toward the game. A new approach to physicality. Midway through last season, the NBA made a notable adjustment, allowing more defense physicality. Offenses, which had dominated the league early months, faced greater resistance. One could attribute these drastic changes to that awful high-scoring All-Star game that took place. Explained that the goal was to maintain that balance. I'm very happy where we are now, said McCutcheon. He emphasized the importance of refining individual referee performance rather than overhauling the group. The league's changes have prompted mixed reaction. While fouls initially spiked at the start of the season, they have since decreased. I'm gonna just add, like, the way they let, like, that's the shit really, that really started with players like Michael Jordan, who shot a lot of free throws. When I play this,
You can't get too close to Michael, it's a foul.
when I play that, that's what the league changed into. I mean, that's what the league changed into. Karl Malone probably scored more than half his points from the free throw line in his career. He was probably averaging 10 free throws a game in some games. And of course, James Harden was. When, James Harden was, I mean, that's when he was effective. Going to, every time he goes to the hoop, you call a foul. He gets hit or not. If he falls down, he gets near a player, you give him the foul. That kind of hooping should go away, and I'm glad they've taken that part out the game. NBA also declined in free throw rates. Knowledge that communication with referees influenced the trends. First 10 weeks, the foul average was higher. However, he clarified that the increase wasn't universal, noting that some of the other games featured heightened physicality, overzealous reffing. The variability highlighting the changes, maintaining consistency across the game. The league is focused on individual referees' discrepancies. Despite efforts to balance physicality tensions, teams' officials have risen in weeks. Notable figures like Bucks, Doc Rivers, Mike Brown, Fred VanVleet have faced fines for criticizing the refs. Some coaches, such as Thunder Mike Darganaut, have come close to crossing the line with their comments. The league's inconsistent approach to the physical defense has fueled frustration. Last season, teams expressed surprise when referees began allowing more contact midway through the year. While the league issued standard mid-season points of emphasis, the drastic change caught many teams off guard. Teams appreciated the slowed offense avalanche but struggled to adapt quickly. Remains unfazed by recent high-profile interactions between players, coaches, and refs. He views the intensity as a natural byproduct of competitive play. I think anytime you have a couple of high-profile interactions that may or may not lead to ejection, that there's a sense of that this year. He added that the passion surrounding the game is both a strength and a challenge. You have to remember that everyone is still really involved. They should be. I don't think we should ever rob people of that sense of passion. Would like to see it exhibit itself out. The NBA's effort to refine officiating reflects the league's commitment to balance by emphasizing individual referee improvement, which they've been they keep repeating that. So, the old NBA was really, what did he say? I agree that the rules is a contract made it become exhibition. I wish Mike didn't agree to the sanction part of the contract. Jake doesn't deserve it. Yeah, that's a good point. He shoots 1 million times. I agree. He would not get a championship. Yeah. Harding. That's why and thanks for everybody out there who used it. But he is definitely the lovable loser. So is Chris Paul. Like, why is Chris Paul still in the league? You telling me that it ain't boys hungry in the G League that ain't better than Chris Paul? But what it turns out to be is, it seems like it takes the younger dudes to learn how to act. That's what I'm getting. It's like they like to keep the older guys because the older guys know the act. And they can teach the younger dudes the act or the acting of basketball. What else could it be? Like Chris Paul's skills, he's a small point guard that can't shoot. And didn't they drive Allen Iverson off the league basically for the same thing? Smaller guard that can't shoot. Once he didn't have the quickness to get by people, he didn't have a consistent jump shot, to keep staying in the league because he could shoot. because he really was more of a scorer than a shooter, and there's a big difference. It's like Steph Daddy was a shooter. He wasn't really a scorer, but he was a shooter. And so, it's nice seeing Harding games without Harding going to the foul line so much. I tell you though, my Timberwolves, they were on Thursday, I think, or Friday. I watched them play. Randall for Cat wasn't a good trade. Now, I don't like Cat as a player. He plays the fool too often. He falls when he doesn't have to fall. Too many times he would shoot a layup and then fall down, and he would put the team at a disadvantage. But Randall, I mean, he hit a three that won the game, but I don't know. And like to bring the big fella here made no sense either. Now Nas, I like Nas's game more than I like Towns' game. Towns is slightly taller than Nas, and Nas is about the same effort of 3-point shooter. So that was kind of an evil. And I like they put Jobert and they put Nas out there and has Nas playing the power forward, because it does give you a big all the time, but Jobert or whatever his name is, Rudy just ain't a very good player. I mean, is it worth, the little bit of offense he gives you or little bit of defense he gives you, is it really worth it? Because like we saw at the end of last year where he shouldn't even been in the game, because you knew it was a design play by the networks and them where he's trying to guard Luka. And again, Luka couldn't even run, and yet they don't attack his position every time. Remember the last playoffs? That's all they had to do is get the ball. Whoever Luka had, go at Luka. Luka was injured, but do they do that? No, they didn't. They shot all other kind of crazy shots instead of attacking Luka down low that couldn't move. And that's how they went as far as they went in the playoffs. Again, they didn't want the Timberwolves in the conference final, in the championships. So, yeah, you can't stand Cat. I can't either. And then, I got my older videos where he fouls on purpose. I mean, he be right on script. He don't even make the script look interesting. He be right on script, So, I don't know. And, I didn't go see Wicked. I'm not going to see that bullshit singing. I do not want to see that bullshit singing. So I will not be seeing that shit. There's a movie called Banninoff, I think. I might end up going to see that Tuesday. And then I'm going to see Craven, the Hunter. I'm going to see Craven. I think that's the 13th or 14th. I'm going to see that. But it be, we wanting a lot out of these movies, and the movies don't be shit. I hate to say that. Because Gladiator, as hyped as I was to see it, I usually go see movies premiere night, which is Thursdays. And it really wasn't, good as what we anticipated. It really wasn't it good. Oh, I didn't see this. Did y'all see this? Referee gets carted off first quarter of the Panthers game. I don't know if they're going to show it or not. Maybe. No, requires attention on the field, even between plays. Who had been serving as a game umpire for the Panthers against the learned that the hard way. He needed to be carted off the field after accidental collision with a player ahead of punt during the fourth quarter, who has been official since '99 from the Panthers sideline to have a punt, and when linebacker ran into him, went down awkwardly after the inadvertent hit and needed medical assistance. Wow, and I think not this past weekend, the weekend before, it was a dude he was one of the college games. He was holding the down marker, and he just fell down. Like his leg just gave out. No contact or anything. His leg just gave out. So I didn't see that where he and this is what's sweet and how they changed, and they put this one. This is from 5, I think, 5 or 6. I think 5 or 6 they invented these coats. These are coats that look like the referee things, and they're quite warm. I mean, these are pretty heavy too. They're, nylon. Nylon is really, really warm. It holds the heat in really good, and it repels. But that's what this is, a coat. If you didn't know, That's why, they have this in the cold weather. Yeah, I had a sweet. I had actually would have been more of a marker guy who held the marker kind of jacket, but it was nylon, super warm, water repellent and everything. So I didn't see the dude getting carted off the field. I did not see that. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, we already talked about Terry Todd. He died a while ago. It's the only movie where the bad guy lives in the hood, so he lives in the project. So the only way to stay away from him is staying away from the projects. You stay away from the projects, there's no Candyman. But that was a motherfucker when they caught him because he was boning one of them's girl, and they caught him. And when they caught him, they cut him and stuffed honey in his wounds and let them bees out on his ass. Mm. Yeah, so it's not a lot of morbid news, which is good. It's like the world took a break. Oh, Biden's son getting pardoned. Now, who didn't see that coming? He said he wouldn't pardon him. Remember on they asked him, one of the interviewers yelled out, "Are you going to pardon your son?" He was like, "No." Yeah, nigga, you lied. You definitely lied. I think Trump gonna pardon himself. Watch. I bet you anything for Trump get out in 4 years from now, he gonna pardon himself. He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna pardon myself." I don't know if you can, because Richard Nixon didn't pardon himself. So I don't know if you can. Oh, I heard about this. Let's see if this is it. Yeah, let's see if we can get this story. I don't know if y'all heard about Randy Moss. I don't know if they're gonna say what's wrong with him, but the lead to the NFL icon made it public that he's dealing with some health issues. On Sunday, ESPN, he's battling something internally that he's asking for prayers from everyone. I just wanted to let the viewers know that me and my wife and my family are battling something internally. I have some great doctors around me. I couldn't miss the show. I wanted to be here with you guys. I feel great, but y'all see me with these Michigan turnover glasses that I have on. It's not being disrespectful because I'm on television. I'm battling something and I need the prayer warriors. God bless you all, and thanks for my prayers. Apparently, some viewers are pointing that some of his issues is his eyes last week, which is at least a part of why Moss chose to address the situation today. Obviously, we didn't know the nature of Moss is dealing with. None of our business. They were saying his eyes was looking yellow. They were saying that his eyes was looking yellow. Moss has said that he will now be wearing glasses, dealing with those issues, whatever Randy Moss and his family are going through. But yeah, a lot of people last weekend was saying that his eyes was looking yellow. His eyes was looking yellow last week. Oh, Nicole B, what's happening?
You can't get too close to Michael, it's a foul.
So yeah, there were a lot of people last week. Let me see if I can find let's see if they'll show a picture. I don't know if this is a picture here. And that really. Oh yeah, god damn, that's liver like a motherfucker. Oh, check this out, y'all. Yeah, he's got some kind of liver damage. Let's see.
What's going on there, guys?
Wow,
We're back
look
with
at
another.
that. Look at that, y'all. That's definitely liver. Wow. Pretty sure this is liver damage. Or wow. That don't look good at all.
And I want to talk about what Randy Moss had to go on TV and say today. Now, people were picking at his eyes during last week's telecast, and it comes out Randy Moss is actually going through something, guys. And I hate to see people look at these type of things on TV.
Wow. So I wonder, man,
Be
this
so
is
quick to get
horrible.
likes, retweets, shares,
If they was
and be
this
the
yellow,
first or something to
that's
pick
like,
at somebody when you
that's
don't know
definitely
when
liver
something's going on.
trouble.
I remember that picture came
Poor
out with
guy.
Travis.
Wow. So he got to wear glasses to hide that, but that almost looks like
With Bozeman, where he had
almost like
lost a lot
shapeshifter eyes, almost like amphibian.
of
This is
weight,
almost like
and we didn't know
amphibian
what
looking
was going
eyes.
on with him at the
So
time.
now
And
he
then
got
we
to wear
later see
glasses
that
when he's on TV. Okay. Woo. Hope you better. You from Dayton, okay. Oh, Brad. Brad, what's happening? I'm sorry, I missed you, Brad.
You can't get too close to Michael, it's a foul.
Oh yeah, definitely go blue. Go blue. And as I talked about the Michigan game already, but it's like number 33, he could have got suspended because he really started all that action. And it spread across college. It's like one thing I liked is like University of Minnesota beat Wisconsin in Wisconsin. And one thing they give back and forth for their rivalry game is there's the Paul Bunyan Acts. So the Paul Bunyan Acts, the winner gets it, and the winner acts like they're cutting down, the goalposts with the axe. They each get so many chops. And so they have a tradition if they win the axe in there, if one wins the axe and the other's thing, they each player gets a chop at the goalpost. They ain't breaking the damn statue, but they're, so it's normal for them to try to plant their flag. So you know so oh yeah, that's who did it. Jack, what's his name? Jack Sawyer. Yeah, he's lucky he didn't get suspended because he the one that grabbed the flag. So he's lucky that he didn't get suspended because they just said they fined each program, I think, $100K, and that was it. But they didn't suspend any of the players, which would have hurt Ohio State more than would have hurt Michigan. That's why, the coach for Ohio State is in some hot water. I mean, he better win the national championship, which really makes me wonder, is Ohio State going to be there? Because Ohio State they're not going to be in the Big Ten title game. That's going to be Penn State and Oregon, which should be a really good game. Oregon should win it all from looking at it, but will they let Oregon win it all is the question. And what's funny, Paul Feinstein wanted to talk shit about Dion, but Dion was a game away from making it. And historically, they won think about it, 2 years ago, they won what? Won 1-11. And now they're going to be in a decent bowl. They're going to be in a decent bowl, which again is a moneymaker. See, now the players are going to get paid to play in these bowls. And the way I would ask for it to be set up is like a bonus. We play in this bowl, this is a bonus money. So, yeah, definitely pray for Randy. Randy's a good, solid guy. Yeah, Randy Moss is a really good, solid guy. I ran across him several times over the years, and he used to hoop in the pro-am here. One of the years I coached, I wasn't hooping, I was coaching. He played. So he would, we have a pro-am. We I think Ty Jones, Tyus has taken over the pro-am. Now he runs it. But before it was a dude named Howard Pulley that ran it. And Randy played in that. He played in the pro-am we got here in Minnesota, excuse me. He played in the pro-am here. But like if it was something going on in the city and some brothers needed Randy there, Randy was cool about it. He really was. He was cool about it. They said they sold Aretha Franklin's house for $300,000 in Detroit. And it's desperate need of major work. Why didn't she fix it? She been dead for a minute. Okay, so, and it is in Detroit. There's some houses in Detroit that make big money, but some that don't. I'm telling you, that house ain't really that together. Come together right now over me. Oh, here's a sports death. Yeah, and I got a story. I got a story about everybody, but this is Lou Carnesecca and Carnesecca, and this is the basketball ritual. Again, this is the way you want to die. I don't think he ever won it. I don't think he ever won it, but he was around. But let me tell you his story. And this story is published in the paper, but he said that he went to a high school game in 1960 to see the top player in New York. And at that time, the top player was Roger Brown and Connie Hawkins. But Roger Brown's team got knocked off and Connie Hawkins played in the championship game. And Lou said Connie came down, jumped from the free throw line with what's called the spread eagle dunk. It was the first time anybody ever described what's called the spread eagle dunk, where you spread your legs apart and you dunk, which Connie Hawkins invented, which Michael Jordan copied. He just scissor kicked it. If you really look at it, he spread his legs more like you're running, where Connie Hawkins spread it straight apart. But Lou Carnesecca, this was Mark Jackson's coach. And what was the white boy's name? He coached him too. I can't think of his name. But he coached both of them. He coached St. John. They ain't really got a lot to say about him. He was St. John's original Big East was born. Okay, wanted no part of it, but he admitted he was wrong about that. Chris Mullins. He coached Chris Mullins too. This was Chris Mullins' coach. So, but yeah, I wanted to show him because of that story about Connie Hawkins, which, Michael Jordan really did the Michael Jordan pose is the Connie Hawkins pose. It's just one had his legs apart like this and one scissor kicked his leg, but it's the same thing. Chris Mullins, thank you. Colorado doesn't get any calls. They didn't want them in the playoffs anyway. Well, yeah, they didn't get any calls in the Kansas game. It was a pass interference. When they was still in the game, it was a pass interference on Hunter, then they let it go. It was clear pass interference. They showed the replay. They was like, oh, he didn't get the call, and the call made a difference in the game. It took away all their momentum. There was a late hit on Shadar that wasn't called. The guy went low on him, flipped him. Should have been a call, was not a call. So yeah, they didn't want him there this year. And they're getting the top quarterback in the nation, I think, next year, or the top prospect that was going to go to Ohio State. I think he was going to go to Ohio State. So, but Lou Carnesecca, again, he's passing for the Bowls. He was a college coach, and you see how they do it. He was a college coach, so he died during the college bowl season. They always want blood. No matter what, they want blood. Who won? I was watching Cleveland and Boston. I think Cleveland lost. Let's see, they ain't showing it. No, they're not showing it. Another player that shouldn't be in the league is Ben Simmons. It's like, why are they keeping Ben Simmons around? He's scared. I'm thinking of moving to Michigan and rooting for Detroit Lions. My Cincinnati Bengals are hurting me. Yeah, Cincinnati wasn't very good. And again, they didn't get us some calls today, too, because I was watching that game on my phone instead of watching the split screen. Oh, Cleveland beat them. Oh, okay, because I switched back over to the football game because halftime I started watching Cleveland. So Cleveland beat them. Ooh, okay. Okay, yeah, I was watching. I watched off and on most of the game. I forgot to watch. I could have watched it on my phone, and I didn't. But Ben Simmons. Yeah, Ben Simmons is straight trash. But it shows you, it was another dude that can never shoot. I mean, if you look at his whole career, what they did is, and I've talked about this many times, but what they did is they hit him in LSU. They didn't want him to play in any big games. They didn't want him to play in any big pressure moments. That's why he went to LSU for that year. They wanted him hid because they wanted to hype him. And they knew if he would have had to play in one of these pressure games, he would have been exposed. And see, this goes into the phoniness of the foreign players. This goes into that phoniness of them because he was nothing but all hype. Nothing but all hype. They couldn't shoot. That really couldn't shoot. And so they hid him in college. They didn't want him to have a pressure situation because it would have knocked his stock down. Just think if he had a situation in college because he wasn't ready. He wasn't really ready. He was more hyped than his game. And what his game been? Injury prone, scared to shoot, scared to. I mean, just he's not a good shooter anyway. And when he's with the crowd, he's even worse. Hey, PJ, is Fultz still out the league? I know Fultz was out the league. Nobody had picked him up. I know he was still out the league. What was he with Lando last season? I think the fact that he sacrificed his cousin, he was close to him, got in his head. That could have been. Some people really can't live with, you know, what the human sacrifice that it takes for some of the people, or the contracts they sign. You know, when they start taking people out, you know, they know it's all part of the game. I must admit, y'all, this is one of the best cigars I've had in a long time. I've had this since, damn, Wednesday maybe? Maybe this is my cigar since Wednesday it was new. And it's still held together. It's just now breaking up tonight. I've been sucking on this since Wednesday. And it's just now breaking up a little bit. So this was pretty good wrapped. Thing about tobacco, I like it too much, but this is the only way I ingest it is like this. It's funny the feeling you get. It's a ooh kind of feeling. I don't know. No one has picked folks. Oh, he's still out the league. Okay, he's still out the league. And you know, like I tried to tell, you know, I told a story about how I tried to put a league in Battle Creek back in, let's see, maybe 01. Cam was born 01, Keelan was born 02. So 01 or 02, I tried to put a league in, and now my friend is actually doing it. But it's funny, the league he put together doesn't have a shot clock, and there ain't no fans there. You know, he was streaming the game, but it gives still. You know, there's enough interest in the league where people are participating. It's like when I moved up to Michigan in 86. That first year I played semi-pro basketball. It was 400 different teams. 400 different teams in different divisions. 400. And I remember by the time I moved out of Battle Creek in 04, because I was reffing and playing. So maybe 04, 05 going in there. I was reffing and playing. And I remember we had our referee meeting and she said the number of teams, it was only like 200 and some teams. But now what's happening, there's a resurgence on semi-pro basketball. People are getting more organized with it, putting that bread together, having a league for their people to continue their career and get paid decent money. Because semi-pro is you not really getting paid. You paying to play. You know, that's what semi-pro is. You paying to play. Now, I played in many money tournaments and stuff, and, you know, where we playing for a pot, we put money, everybody put money in and play for that pot, you know, so there was some times, but, you know, those was like big tournaments. Those wasn't just, you know, those wasn't all the time. So, and you had to travel a lot, you know, you really had to travel a lot, and you had to have cats with you that could travel a lot. Because that's where I used to get burned. There was dudes didn't, you know, when it came time to go somewhere, dudes didn't want to put the bread in. You know, they always thought I should put the bread up. And, you know, that does get frustrating at times. You know, they want me to pay for the rooms. It is like, dudes, we all going to play. You know, we put this bread in and this is what we get. So, yeah, you're going to have to pay for your room. You're going to have to pay for your gas to get there. But if we win the bread, we all share the bread. So that's the deal I wanted to get. And as I told before, I tried to bring, like I was just talking about that water pulley team. When I first met Pulley, I tried to get a team from Michigan to play some All-Stars here. And back then, Sean Leonard was playing. It was a bunch of cats. My friend Tyrone that played with the Globetrotters. There's a bunch of cats playing in that league. So it gave them cats a lot of exposure. And you never know who eyes are on you. Like the league we had in Kalamazoo, people would come and scout dudes, especially younger dudes that still had college eligibility. Dude we called Meech. Meech, his other nickname was 6'7", but he ended up going to some school in West Virginia off a game we played. You know, off a game we played in Kalamazoo, one of our summer league games, our semi-pro summer league, Pan Am. Because Chris Crawford played in it, so it was the Pan Am League. pro and amateurs. And so that's what we was about, trying to get the young dudes to continue their stuff. Hey, Blue Marvel, what's happening?
You can't get too close to Michael, it's a foul.
Oh, so, it's good to see brothers having more and more chances. There's outside, there's a higher high school league now that, is not associated with any games or not associated with any high schools. It's just a league for the higher tier high schoolers who are going to the next level to play in. So it's a lot more opportunities. And I applaud, boys being able to make money in high school. Because think about all the money the high schools make off your teams. Like people don't understand, like in Texas, Florida, Alabama, people don't understand how big high school football is. Like when my friend who went to Miami North used to say he had 20,000 used to come see them play. I didn't believe it until I went down there and went to a game with him. Down there in Florida and Texas, it'd be 20,000 people at a high school game. And now them players can get paid. They should. They should get paid. I think they should. So, and Michigan, like Michigan stadiums, high school stadiums are bigger than here. They're bigger than here. Here's not really, not a football state like Ohio and Michigan. It's not really a football state like Ohio and Michigan is. For the North, for the North. So, the North is football is serious in Michigan, and so the high school football is pretty. We don't have crowds of 20,000, but it's not unlikely to get 3,000 to 5,000 at a high school game, football game, and then basketball. Of course, there's a lot more. Michigan is also a big basketball state too. So multiple people that have went to the league and just went to college, went to the league coming out of Michigan. And that's why, like I remember Charles Barkley, Chris Webber was saying, it was people that should have made the NBA that didn't. And then Barkley's like, no, they shouldn't have. No, they didn't make it. They didn't make it for a reason. But Barkley didn't play against very good competition in high school. Barkley's only 2 or 3 years younger than me. Maybe he played AAU in Alabama, but back then, there wasn't no great hoopers coming out of Alabama. He wasn't no nationally recruited cat. He didn't play against none of them niggas that really could have played pro in high school back then. Where Chris Webber was telling you in Michigan, like I talk about Tim Reed. Tim Reed had all the tools to play in the NBA. He just didn't have the luck. I mean, he got caught stealing a mattress because he didn't have a bed at his house. So he got charged for breaking and entering a house and stealing a mattress out of it because he wanted a mattress. He broke in an abandoned house. So he didn't get to play high school his senior year. And then when he went to college, he wasn't prepared because the first day he was on campus, the first thing he could think of is light a joint in the dorm room. Because he had never had that type of freedom before. And no one had gave him game on how to get along there. You can smoke as much weed as you want in college, but at least you want to know how what they call it, the ropes go. You want to know the ropes. So he had never been taught that. There was nobody telling him the ropes on how to behave in college. But he was a cat that had all the potential. He was, if you know who Thunder Dan Marley is, Tim was the number one player out of Michigan, not Dan Marley, who ended up playing with Phoenix. I think Dan started. He played with Phoenix and maybe one other team, but Tim was better than him. Way better player than Dan Marley. But again, Marley, I think he's from Mount Clemens, where Central Michigan is. People got money. I mean, Tim, there's a rule in AAU that you can't let somebody use your car because Dan Marley let Tim use his car. Again, Tim ain't never had nothing. As a teenager, he probably couldn't use his mama's car. A chance to get a car, Tim kind of stole the car and didn't come back for a minute. Tim was like just joyriding around the town, Tim, but again, he wasn't taught discipline. He didn't have that elder was there, to give him advice. He didn't really have that. And there's many others, there's many others. It's like Kenya Murray has 2 boys in the NBA. Now, if he would have went to Kentucky instead of going to Iowa, I think he would have had a greater chance to make the NBA. Because the years he would have went there was the years when Tubby won the championship. Kenyon was supposed to go to Kentucky. He had been going to the camps all through his high school years. And then he meets somebody that had ulterior motive and got some bread for getting him to go to Iowa. And what did he get in Iowa? Big Ten player, defensive player of the year or something like that? That was all. It never really, I think Kenyon only played, he played in the low league like in Switzerland or Dutch or Switzerland or Holland. He played in those low leagues. I think he played in the low league in China for a little while. But did he have the skills, especially the defensive skills? He definitely had the defensive skills. But both his boys, but he was like 6'4", both his boys 6'7". So his son Keegan Murray, and mama's a volleyball player. So he knew what he was doing. But shoot, my boy's mom was tall. That's why all my boys was tall, but only one of them really wanted to hoop and play sports. So, but they're big, strong men. And so that's, all I can do. You can show them the water, but you can't make them drink it. That's all you can do is say, hey, here it is. This is what hard work will get you. But if they don't want it, nothing you can do about it. Can't push it on them. They got to love it. And if you don't love it, there's no reason to go through all the practices and the dedication that it takes. I mean, PJ knows the time just when your game is top tier and you playing all the time. Like when I'm talking about playing, when I was playing them semi-pro, I had to play all the time. I played almost every day. I'm at a gym, pickup gym somewhere. That was the first thing I did. When I moved back to Michigan, that's the first thing I started doing is going to these gyms. And I remember it was like Kalamazoo played in the mornings. So I'd go play in the mornings in Kalamazoo, and then I would play at night in Battle Creek. And did like that. And in the summer league, I ended up getting on a team in the summer league. And then that led to, 20 plus years of playing every year. Because I really didn't stop playing until I was 44. Not really. Last tournament, I was 48, 46, 45, 46, the last tournament I played in. And that was just a macker. So, and wasn't really in great shape. I had moved and just didn't get a lot of time in the gym. Just, didn't have a lot of time. But that was my life in my young 20s and 30s and 40s was still in the gym, putting in that work, staying in shape, showing my children a healthy lifestyle of always being in shape. Because I was always in shape because I played year round. That's why when I turned it into refereeing, I was in shape to ref for sure. And something you have to understand, it's different running on that football field than on that court. When you run on grass, you're using more and different muscles. Your body, your legs are working a lot harder in that grass than on that court. And so you got to be like when you ref soccer, they have some kind of test of stamina because soccer ain't nothing but running up and down for a ref. And that's a big ass field that you got to cover. So when you ref soccer, you really got to be in shape unless you're doing 2 little side fields of little children. But if you're doing high school or junior high and above, you're running. You've got to have, the wind, the endurance to hold up with the game. So, well, I wasn't going to go too late where I'm going on. Okay, about 1 hour and 30 minutes. It's like, I'll say this. It's like we all are in the balance between being real and unreal. I mean, that's just what it is. And we all seem to teeter where we become more real sometimes than the other time. Sometimes we get caught up with the fake. And for that period, we become fake, just as fake as all the fake. And then sometimes we see through it, and it's like for a longer period, we have to stay real. And that's what happened in 2020. It was like a long time people had to be real. It was no going back and forth. You had to be real. You saw the fake people all around you, but you saw it where you had to stay being real and you didn't get caught up in the fake. You didn't get caught up in the ruse. You saw what it was from the very beginning. And so those was a couple years where you just had to stay real, and it was easier to see the fake and the people that weren't real. It was easy to see it. And you see how people made themselves not real by the people that went along with it. What, 2 weeks got the whole world wearing masks? There's no way that could be real. There's no way that somebody in Istanbul that never around motherfuckers, he needs to be wearing a mask. I mean, it made no sense. It was, oh, here it is. Okay. And so, and that's what understanding what this thing is. Because I think Blue Marvel was the one that really said like that he indulged in what they did because how did he put it at the time? He just said that he was just following along. And sometimes you do. You have to follow along with the fake. I think my great grandfather used to have a saying, what did Kwame Brown say? Get along, go along to get along. So sometimes you've got to go along with the fake to get along. But you really stay real, but you immerse yourself in the fake side just to kind of get along and be within the flow of not really gaining attention to yourself and just getting along. Because sometimes when you're real and you're dealing with people that are fake, you don't get along with them. That's why you have to have the knowing to say, this motherfucker's fake, so what am I arguing with him for? This person was brought here to really do some bullshit. And that's what a lot of times, the gang stalking is just to put people around you to do some bullshit. To put people around you just to do some bullshit. And that's how, you navigate from what's the real and what's, the fake. How you navigate with it. Because you're able to see through it. And, that's the beautiful thing of phasing. You can phase from one way to the other. Because sometimes it's better to hold the cards close to your chest. Okay, getting close. Forgot to put the cards separate. Okay. And it's like this is another part of it. It's like I think it's okay to hate what has happened to our condition. I think that's okay. I don't see a problem with hating our condition, hating what was done. And it doesn't keep us in victimism. It keeps us in staying in what's real. Because it does make you think like our condition does make you see it makes you think that whoever runs this is European backed. If you look at this thing and you look at the way history was written, like I've told a million times, the Spanish was about to be beat out to the Americans, and all of a sudden 30,000 allies, Indian allies, show up and save the Spanish. Even though the people that they're protecting is destroying your nation and destroyed your people, but yet they got 30,000 people motivated to say, hey, fuck our own people. Fuck them. We don't give a fuck about our people and our grandchildren. We gonna help these Europeans. We gonna help them. This is very unlikely. And so it does give you the feeling, and I can see that even they, get that feeling that it must be something that it must be something run by someone that favors them. I mean, if you're talking about the favored people, it does seem like that. I mean, these incredible stories, they incredibly travel. And the first time, and this is, I've said this before, the first time the Europeans came to the Americas was the Vikings, and the Vikings got their ass whooped. With the same technology, the people was able to beat the Vikings. And the only technology Cortez and them have, you can't say guns. You got to say more cannons than guns. But even then, it was small cannons. And the thing that doesn't make sense is, how did they ever sleep without being killed in their sleep? If I've got 10,000 men and I just constantly send them at you, I don't care what you got. I don't care what technology you got. You can have all the metal swords and metal shields. But if I'm consistently attacking 500 men with 10,000 men, I can keep sending men. When I send 1,000 at you, you only gonna cannon so many. So by the time I'm into sending 2,000-3,000 at you, fatigue is gonna come in somewhere. And you saying these people from a part of Spain that ain't used to the tropics of South America fighting in all that steel. You will fatigue. You will fatigue. It's just that's all it is you will fatigue. So that part of history ain't believable. That they conquered, 1,000 men conquered 100 million people is not believable. That part definitely is made up. So so we have to question everything. Everything. We have to question everything because that part is definitely not real. It didn't happen that way. It's no way. What they're saying happened is impossibility. Then to say they was able to go up in the Andes Mountains with that same heavy equipment going up. Everybody knows if you're on the high ground, it's easier to defeat a person trying to come up than you fighting from the top down. You want the high ground. But yet they tell you they was even able to defeat the Incas. I mean, none of it is believable. Now, the story of America is a little more believable because what they would do is they would sneak and kill the people, just like what we just celebrated. The people be out hunting, they would raid the village and kill all the women and children. Then they had a habit of stealing women and children. That's the biggest thing that's never went away from the Europeans coming to America, is stealing women and children. But even that, like they tell you, the first people came and starved to death. And if it really wasn't tobacco, they would have never made money here because they came to America looking for gold. Because the Spanish had taken out so much gold and so much silver. I got to find that number again. I don't know if I came across the number of, because they tried to say like with Columbus, there wasn't a lot of gold taken back. But I got some of that Cortez. It was unbelievable, the tonnage of gold they took out of America compared to what Columbus brought back. And silver. So, like, is that really victimhood? Like if you in a whatever this is, simulation society, and everything you see that's done to the melanated people is comes from wickedness. So how are we supposed to feel? How are we supposed to feel? And the machine, the matrix ties us up to some of this stuff, but this is the narrative. And it doesn't mean just because we feel bitter about what the matrix has done that we still don't see the fake in it. But see, the wicked comes with physical possibilities of real physical possibilities of killing us. That's what comes with the wickedness. No matter what this thing is, they're in a position now where they can kill us at will. And they do. I mean, even though they made a treaty to stop eating people, they still doing it. That's why, you talking about them taking kidneys and livers. Nah, they've never stopped the meat trade. They don't the treaty they did to try to stop that, they've since said fuck it. They ain't trying to, that you thinking they putting stealing children for sex. Nah, they stealing children because that's the most tender human meat. That's why all these children are missing. And they especially like Indians, the natives. They especially still like eating them. I think that's their biggest preference is eating natives. And if you live in this part of the country, Minnesota, Wisconsin, North Dakota, South Dakota, you see a ton of natives missing, especially girls, especially young women and girls. They still missing. So this is their preference still. These young girls ain't missing for nothing. The natives, it seems to be their preference of steaks, as they call it. Meredith Quinn calls it steaks. What do you say, Macbone? What's the warden said in the movie? The longest yard, you got to go along to get along. They would steal the women and children, sending them to the reservations. This past election is like choosing which slave master you want the most. Well, I think a couple things, and this may anger women, but I'm gonna say it anyway. See, there was an illusion that black women, melanated women had. And the illusion was they really fed into they got Biden in. The Chucks and Pearls, they got Biden in. The women have this power. And they really thought that they could get this person that was fake from the very beginning. That was my problem with her. Trump is real. I mean, you see what the motherfucker is. The motherfucker told you what he's gonna do, what he did before. This chick is flip-flopping, greens. Whoever gave her that story, greens in the sink. Then talking about her mother knew she was raising 2 black girls. They from Canada. Indians from Canada. Father Indian and European. So, I mean, that was, for me, enough not to like her. And the way she treated people in California. There's a lot not to like about the way she treated people in California. And, if you really look at it now, with all the donors, what they saying, it looked like a money grab. It looked like the only reason she ran was for the Democrats and their cronies and their vendors to make money. That's what it looked like. They spent 1.5 billion plus 20 million in 107 days. 10 million the last day alone. So if that's not a money grab to make you see, 900 million on television ads. Again, only one source is getting that other than radio, streaming, TV. That's the one business that's getting infused with 100 million almost from both sides. That's how, and so it looked like, and that's what a lot of the donors is upset about now. That it looked like for them, it was just a money grab. We know we can't win. We'll send anybody out there, but let's get this $1 billion. And they spent $1 billion in 107 days. Now, as much as I like buying shit, I couldn't spend that much in 107 days. Remember the Richard Pryor movie, Brewster's Millions, where he had to spend 30 million in 30 days and he couldn't have any assets? Remember that? And he really, really didn't know how to do it. He tried to invest in shit, and he invested in some shit, and the shit made money. He made some bets. The shit made money. His bets all won. He was trying to lose money. And so it's not that easy to spend that much money. if it ain't, kickbacks to her and money for her people, her cronies. So, but now that's over, and we have to do the reality of whatever happens. Is just we are resilient people, and we deal with it. I don't feel like I'm a victim, but it's like history shows that, there's been a wrong. Just the Europeans being on this land is showing that there was a wrong in that. When there was their own countries, other than the Irish, other than the Scottish, the people that were just as abused, And they don't like to talk about that slavery. They made up another name for it, indentured servant. Instead of making you say, hey, they didn't like you motherfuckers either, and they made y'all slaves too. But they want to call their slavery debt slavery, working off a period slavery. Well, that's all slavery was. I mean, some of the biggest slavers during slavery was black folks. Lady in Virginia had thousands of slaves. Was they fucking with them people? And people forget how the way people looked and were perceived. It was like a whole group of light-skinned black people that was able to, when Jim Crow hit in, they switched being European, like by the thousands. There's towns in the South that just got all light-skinned black folks. Melanated people, but light-skinned melanated people. That ain't tied into a master or slavery. That's just how the Indians in them looked. And so when we look at this beast, we look at this beast and this fight of this beast with a little bit of bitterness. Because that cycle, like I play that lady, you know, it's psychologically. We speak their language. You know, we live in their culture. We don't do any of our real, you know, what we did spiritually. We have a language that blocks us basically spiritually. It's like there's concepts and tones that we, as learning this English, it blocks us from a lot of that. Because some of this, there's no English words that can break through to some of these concepts for us. Because there's no English words, meaning there's no English thought that we can even have about some of this stuff. Because there's no English words to describe it. How do you get to it? How it's done? And so it is like, you know, it is like we're rats in a box in a lot of ways. And for some reason, the person that controls it all likes Europeans more, which doesn't make sense because everywhere they go, they just murder. You know, for the most part, they just murder. Like when they talk about when the Matrix movie, when Smith says, you know, a virus, everywhere you go, you just destroy everything. I mean, this used to be the land of trees. Look at it now. Look at it now. Again, when you look at the Dust Bowl, what they had done to this country, they cut almost all the trees down from the East Coast all across the country. And then they saw how the earth acted towards them with the Dust Bowl, and they was like, hey, we got to plant some trees. Smog and pollution in the world and poison in the world. Do you really think they care about it? It's a money grab. All of it's just a money grab. They don't care. They don't want electric cars now because of smog and all that. They want to make a hustle out of it. Electric cars been around since the turn of the century, and they killed them. Did you ever watch the documentary on how GM invented the electric car and they destroyed all of them but one shell? Took all the mechanics out. I think that was maybe 82, 83. They invented an electric car and then they destroyed every single one of them. I think they ended up making a run of 120, maybe 200 at the most, and they destroyed them all. Why? Why did they destroy all those cars? So electric cars have nothing to do, and we'll never run out of gas. That's a lie too. We'll never run out of it. It appears like that's the planet's blood in a way. And they found a way to tap into the planet's blood because it's so plentiful. That's why, you know, the farce of the oil crisis in the 70s made no sense. You had Europeans going over there showing them how to get to oil and giving them all the technology that was invented in America, showed them all how to do it. And then you telling me all of a sudden they charging you too much for shit you invented when you're probably still hitting them with patents. Only certain places making the equipment. So you think that went away? No, it was a farce. It was a farce to raise up the price. Because after that, the gas really started going up. I remember when I moved to Michigan in 85, 86, the fall of 86, gas was $2.22. So it wasn't low like, people say, like when I first started driving in 77, gas was about 75 cents a gallon then. And I remember being maybe when I was little, maybe 25, 30 cents a gallon. I told the story before, my stepdad had a Mercedes diesel, and they brought him a barrel of diesel whenever he ordered. He could order a barrel of diesel and they bring it to the crib. He was filling up his own car. And, truck stops have always sold diesel, Oh, what did you say? Harris was cosplaying being a black woman during the election. That old black woman in the picture was her nanny. Yeah, it wasn't a relative, right? Rogers mentioned this book, 100 Amazing Facts. A lot of black folks fought for the Confederacy. Oh, definitely. In the movie On Deadly Ground, Steven Seagal asked his boss this question: how much is enough? Again. Yeah, I mean, and I don't know if I could ever find an article, but I had an article that talked about the first battle of Bull Run. It was all black units that fought the Northern troops in the first battle of Bull Run. And I don't know if I saved that article. I haven't come across it again. I don't know if I screenshotted it, but it talked about and how, he's talking about the Northerners hated these niggas that's fighting for the Confederacy. They call them, we hated them black scoundrels and black devils. And then we know people from Texas. Look at some of them Texas generals. Look at some of them Texas generals and look how they look. They ain't looking like them generals like Lee and all them. Them Texas generals is melanated folks. Some of them, not all of them, but some of them. So, yes, the South started fighting melanated people from the very beginning. They started fighting them. Because again, what did I say? A lot of the biggest slaveholders was melanated people in the Confederacy. It wasn't all just Europeans that was rich. It was black rich folks too back then that had big old plantation and had a lot of people working for them. So them people wasn't fucking with them because they had power, because they had this big operation. Big operation come with paying a lot of motherfuckers. And a lot of motherfuckers say, hey, we rolling with them because they paying us good. So if you have this big working staff for you, damn if they won't fight for you. The famous con artist, the Yellow Kid Well, said it's easy to con people who are greedy, wanting to get something for nothing. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that's part of history that they, there's a myth talked about there's a book called The Myth of the Black Confederate. Again, they try to cut everything off at the pass because they don't want you to know the truth. They just want you to think, oh, we was just slaves. Wasn't no rich melanated folks. There wasn't no rich melanated people that held slaves. And the first person that actually won a court case was a melanated dude up in I think Massachusetts. He won a case because, the dude said, hey, I've been with you for 25 years. I'm free. He took him to court. And this black dude's like, his servitude was forever, him and his children. That's what set the precedent of the type of slavery came afterwards. That was the first case. So that was precedent right there. That when I get this slave, I hold this slave forever. So that was a brother that did that, instigated it. And again, they made a lot of Indians. Indians, I mean, it is the same thing like in Africa. The Indians would conquer these other Indians, and then they would have, they would enslave all the people that got defeated. They would get sold into slavery. So I was reading an article about Jamaica. It was a lot of people from North Carolina that got taken to Jamaica. Because they did kill a great number of those people on all the islands. They killed a lot of them. At least that's the story. Because it was people that was fighting Columbus. It was the sister that was on Haiti that was fighting Columbus. And Columbus's people. She stayed fighting them. So it's people that did fight them. So, oh. Oh. So I don't know. It's a tough consideration. Because we see what this thing is, but yet how do we get over what we've been taught about the harm and the harm that has went through generations, the harm we've been taught went through generations, and the pain that, real pain. So it wasn't just that this fake thing taught something. This real fake thing, this wicked thing can give out pain. And it has given out pain. It's like that young man that I put, he says that if they allowed us to be even, we would surpass them, which definitely is true. I mean, what was his name? Granville Woodward also invented a telephone. We know the first cell phone was invented by a brother. So, I mean, technology-wise, if we'd have been left alone, we'd have stayed with him. Oh, okay. So, I mean, segregation was okay. That's what people don't understand. The segregation should have continued. It'd have been better for everybody. Where before, the people in the hood didn't spend their money with the Europeans like that. Spent the money with their own. There we go. And that was better for our neighborhoods. I mean, look at what happened to the neighborhoods that when integration hit. And you seeing all the businesses closing down. And all the skilled businesses too. Instead of you getting your clothes made, you getting them, you going to the mall and getting them instead of getting them tailored. Because it's cheaper if you can buy them in bulk, the bulky way, instead of paying the local tailor. But if the whole community got together and said, this is who we support to get our clothes, and we're going to just buy tailored clothes, then the tailors would have needed more people and more jobs would have opened up. That's really how it's supposed to work in your community. If you need meat, there's somebody in your community that makes the meat. If you need bakers, bread, there's people in your community to do anything, do all that. Cattle, cows, milk, whatever. People in the community can supply that. That's what it takes. You can build your own banks. And that's the cases where we study Rosewood and then we study Tulsa. I mean, that's what happened. Like we were outdoing them, being left alone, thriving, being left alone. And it's like, you think of, is this real or it's always the same story. A European woman say she'd been attacked by a brother, so they go crazy. It's like that's the excuse to be the imbecile psychopath. I mean, here in Minnesota, up in Duluth, when they killed the people, the four brothers, the three brothers they murdered here. And they ain't even hardly a lot of melanated people that lived up in there. Maybe a couple hundred out of thousands of people that lived there. Maybe a couple hundred had some jobs and lived in one part of the city. But why would they hate melanated people, these people from Scandinavia? I mean, what did their psyche tell them to hate these people? Why? And most of these people is immigrants. So did they hate them over the other country? And how could they be taught so much hate that they would just kill people on a whim? Or again, white girl saying she was attacked by a brother. I mean, why would that drive them to a tizzy where they felt they just had to murder? No court, just murder them. And this is the part of the history that, they do want to hide, the type of murder and stuff. Like what was even done to the natives with the Killer of the Flower Moon. You give them some shitty land, and all of a sudden the land is worth something, and you want to change the rules again. So the Europeans can benefit from it. So if you look at this creation as being fake, it appears like it's a European's hand that's running this thing. That some kind of way the Europeans was able to make some kind of illusion out of all this. And they're able to always, no matter what, they're able to come out on top for some reason or another. Why is that? And is that really real history? Because real history shows that people get destroyed after so long. People taught a certain way. What does Matrix say? Even, fake reality, people or my man Guy. Remember my man Guy? The computer people didn't even want to be under slavery of computer people anymore. They revolted. That's why, all the bullshit in DC about putting them fences around, this is the good thing about all that. They're scared of the people again. And Floyd showed that. And I've told the story many times, it was an army here of police leading up to Floyd. Because we had the Super Bowl 17, and then the following year we had the NCAA tournament. So building up to Floyd, there was an army of police here. And yet they was defeated basically by teenagers. Teenagers outnumbered them. And then, when we look at, if you look at really how things work, it take them a while to call up the National Guard. It takes a while for those people to get ready and come. And it's not hard to find out who they are either, because you see them and they're like, hey, we're not going to see you in a while if they're working with you. So if you got a network, it's easy to keep track of that kind of thing. What did it say? Midwest, what's happening? What is it? Combating pre-Indians, yeah, Weebos. I'm not getting what that means. Maybe somebody knows what that means. That's what I said to black folks on a panel a few weeks ago. Y'all got to prepare for the war to get reparations. Well, I mean, they've paid Germany people. They've given Germany people American taxpayer money. They gave the Japanese that they held for 3-4 years money. It's like I said before, my family owned a large part of Boston. We were part of the Abenaki and the Wampanoags. We were the smaller tribe that came off the Wampanoags, the Abenaki, Eastern Abenakis, more precisely. So we were around Boston Harbor. So a lot of that land was our land. Personally, my family's land. Then they killed, the elder people in the family, and then the younger son, they kidnapped him. Then after him being gone 12 years, they stole the land because they tricked his mama into selling the land. Then he comes back, and all they want out of millions of acres, they just wanted to give him 20 acres. He had to fight just to get to 20 acres. So we see every time, it's a wicked story in how it stopped our progress. It's some type of wicked story. It plays over and over again. So maybe Jesus really is white. Maybe he is European. Maybe the Sky Daddy is European. A few years ago, they even gave the rainbow community. Yeah, that was Obama. Obama gave them lots of money. And you telling me, and it's like, it appeared like when Obama, the end of Obama's term and the beginning of Trump, like it was going to happen, like reparations was going to happen. It kind of got a lot more momentum. And then remember when you saw the ATL show where they made fun, you had European children teasing brothers because they said, oh, you guys only got money because you got reparations. Remember he made that on ATL? Glover made that on ATL. But already they were setting up European hate of the European hate towards people getting reparations. Already in their media, they were already showing that kind of thing. Yeah, he came up and produced it, but that's what they wanted produced. Because if it happened, they wanted automatic hate. They wanted the Europeans to hate the people that if they got money and it raised their social status, they wanted Europeans to hate. So they started putting the seeds in that long ago on that first season of ATL. So that could be used if it happened to make them say the only reason they got that money is we took their land and everything and they said we owed them. So you hate them because we had to give them the money. That's the kind of thing that was pushed. And, but I'm getting too old where, it's not going to happen in my lifetime. I doubt in the next 20 years it's going to happen. I've only got 20 to 40 more years. I might make it to 100. I might not. And so, from that perspective, your idea about reality makes you come to the conclusion that it's got to be some wicked, it makes you come to the conclusion that if this thing is run by something and this reality is fake and illusional, it's put together by Europeans. Because every story, they're the heroes. So for some reason, whatever or how, like even if you say, okay, they was created by the Jakob story, okay, you're saying the melanated people helped them conquer their own people, which could be very, very, there's thoughts out there that there's a group of melanated people that help these Europeans and that are really the real puppet strings. That you've heard of the black nobility. So there is some things that to say that could be very well true. That it's melanated people out there. And if you look at, you get into Marduk is supposed to be a melanated looking being. And again, you listen to Wes Paneri, but not Negro. See, they never, never want to admit that melanated nation means one thing. Well, he wasn't born on Earth, and it's just, he wouldn't be a Negro. Only Negroes are on Earth. Well, even this book, he's racist. This cat. He don't want to admit that this dude on the cover got taught by the Olmec. And we know the Olmec were melanated, and as well as the Mayans. They was all melanated folks. All America was melanated, from the Eskimos all the way down. Eskimos ain't light people. Look at them old Eskimos. They ain't light people. How do you explain that? Is what they say is the further you live away from the sun, the lighter you get. Them Eskimo people stayed melanated looking. And they lived up there for, thousands of years. So it could be any of those possibilities of what's really going on. As I started talking about, flashing between being real and unreal. And I think one of the, first ways to understand that you're unreal is to not be afraid of death. To understand just as easy as you kill a bug and another bug is around there, that's life. Death is only the next phase. The next phase of consciousness. That's all it is. The next phase of knowing. And yeah, this racial shit is around there to lower your energy somewhat, to keep a bitterness in you against the system. I'm sure that is planted there because of that and enforced because of that. It wants to keep your vibration a little lower because you got hate for this beast. I'm sure that's what it does. Keeps that out there. So you always hate, something. And, hate does lower your vibration. No doubt about that. But yet it's a kind of disease that you can't really ignore though, because the kind of thing that's going on in America and the world is it's like a disease, you know. It's like they are the virus of the world, and we have to live in their virus infected world, infected by them being the virus and infected, and it's everywhere. And then then it's funny is like they want to change roles. They want to say, well, the Chinese now is the new virus. So the Chinese go to Africa and they're the new virus. They're taking advantage of those people, not just the Europeans anymore. We'll let the Chinese go in and you take advantage of them. We can't hide that we taken advantage of them long enough. And like even if you get into Africa history, you got to know Africans sold the most Africans. It wasn't Europeans that sold the most Africans, it was Africans, followed by the Arabs. Them are the two biggest slavers in Africa. The Arabs, the first is Africans, especially when they started buying iron. Especially when they started trade, you didn't really see African slavery pick up to a great degree when they was like them clamshells, when they was trading just clamshells and shit. You didn't see slavery pick up. But the moment they started trading lead, that's when you see Africans selling Africans in great numbers to get more of that lead. Because again, the swords, the early cannons, the early guns. And that's, I got a book back there called The History of Slavery. And they're wrong. They tell the fake myth about snatching Africans and Africans coming over here. They just didn't. We know the African slave trade was started with Columbus. We know he brought about 20 people and about 4 or 5 lived and actually lived in America and had children. And so I think my man Jim Red Wolf tells that, how he ran into people that were related to the people that Columbus brought over here. So some of the people lived and survived. But when they look back, they knew their history was Columbus took their family and brought them over to Spain, or to Spain. And the people, end up going to Italy and living, but they knew that their first family members came from America. See, Europe knew that story long before it was taught to us, and we had to find that on our own. And what's funny is like so many people love working for the beast too. Like I look at my uncle and I and I've told the story, even my dad, it's like, I think they both, secretly work for the beast. And I mean, I mean, their own way of working for the feds, spying on their people. I got a cousin that's in Islam, and I think that he's an agent too. I think he's been hired to spy on Farrakhan and them all these years. Because this nigga's cheesing with Jesse Jackson, cheesing with Bill Clinton. I'm like, oh, you ain't nothing but an agent. I'm like, you an agent too. When you went to DePaul, they got at you and you started, your job was to spy on the Nation of Islam all these years. Because ain't no way you shaking hand with Jesse Jackson or Bill Clinton. And this nigga was cheesing with Harris. He was cheesing with Harris. He got a picture of Harris behind this nigga's shoulder. And I'm like, oh, you an agent too. It comes through what these people really are and what their roles was. And I just, what are their agreements like, Like, what are their agreements? That's what I look at. It's like, what is their agreements? Because, everything comes from agreements. Contracts. Chinese are the ones who actually cleaning up the virus. Well, I mean, that's why you got to applaud Japan. What Japan did in World War II, you got to applaud it. They put them out Asia. They're the only ones in the history that really put boot to ass to these Europeans and put their ass out of Asia. And again, China, I mean, there's no excuse for what they did to the raping of Nanping. Is that how you say it? I mean, yeah, very barbaric people. But they're barbaric because, the barbarism that was showed to them. Very barbaric people. But they got these motherfuckers up out of there. And it wasn't until they quit when America was doing like what Hitler ended up doing and what Napoleon did. They was doing two fronts. They was fighting in Pacific and they was fighting in Europe. And they really didn't get a foot up in the Pacific until after the European conflict was done and they could shift troops to fighting them islands and start island hopping fighting. But for a period, they put them motherfuckers up out of their countries. All them countries, all the way to the Philippines. And so, that part, it's got to be applauded because it can be done. It shows that they can be defeated. Again, we talk about 70-year-old technology, almost 80 some years now. 80-year technology, they beat them. But it was done. Oh yeah, it's a lot of sellouts. I mean, it's amazing the amount of sellouts that there are. And my own family. I look at how my father rose and got his rise, and it just makes a lot of sense. Because my father started working for the government when he's young. He started in Job Corps. So, well, tonight I'm gonna do, I do my own card thing, and it's funny, like the card thing is such a business. The fortune cards is such a business. That's why I just do it. I give a general reading and send out the energy instead of trying to make money off the energy. Now, I'm not saying that people shouldn't get paid for talent. I'll never say that. But it's just, it comes off as almost a gimmicky. It's like when you go see comedians and shit and they selling t-shirts. It's like that is so played out that it just doesn't make sense. You go to the comedy and then the comics is selling t-shirts. It's like there's no other hustle that they can think of. Other than just selling, that kind of merchandise. I don't know. It just makes you wonder. It's like, why is this so limited to just one thing that they can think of to make extra money? All right. According to the Mayan calendar, loan count, it is 13 batoons, 0 katoons, 12 tunes, 2 unals, and 4 kin. And the token date is 13 Kam, and the Hob date is 7 Mach, and the Lord of the Night is God number 8. And so the Totec, where's the card? Oh. Didn't I just put this card in here? Oh, no. It's back here. No, it wasn't back there. The ruler. 164. I don't think I put the card there. I think I put the card back in the deck. Or did I stick the card over here? Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, okay. My dyslexia kicked in. All right. What I was going to do, I'm sorry, I'm all over. I'm organized. I'm going to do the Totec. And so the Totec is, well, no. Let's do it this way. I'm doing this all on the fly. Here we go. So today would be day 4, and day 4 is Khan, as I said. And Khan is the seed, idea, ordering, power of growth, generative principle, sex and reproduction, and the energy is coming from the south. And this is The Mayan count, that would be the glyph right there. Now in the Toltec, it is still, it would be Kapasalan or lizard, but, and you see the 4 up there. It's technically the same thing. In the warm and sunny territories of Taklamakan, the capital city of the historic Toltec, and Tula, capital of the ethnic Toltec, it was common to see lizards in the ceremony centers and pyramids. These little creatures lived in temples and also appeared on paintings on the walls. The animals so compared the attention of the Toltec that they included in the 4th symbol of the Tonopali. Because of fertility and resilience, lizard was seen in spite as the spirit that watched over birth. In addition, it was considered both the guardian of the temple and the guide of the shaman. The lizard was believed to guide the shaman in a very similar way that to the path, guide a dog gardening a person. The lizard associated with the elements of fire representing, thus the lizard symbol represents the pursuit of magic, practices without losing connection with the earth. In other words, a magic path within a down-to-earth context. Because it represents the ground approach to magic, the lizard is a symbol of equilibrium. When you get this card, it has sight you need to look for the equilibrium that arises from cultivating both your spiritual and magical side and your practical material side with equal attention and dedication. This is what it means to live a grounded spiritual life. As the guardian of the temple and guide of magic, Kotuk Panlin calls for the ones who devote themselves to learning and developing the most basic tradition form of magic. In traditional magic societies, the magic path arose from the contemplation and the interaction with the forces of nature in the spiritual context. In the context, nature is regarded as the visible face of the Great Spirit. The basic magic maneuver was to initiate interactions with the forces of nature, peyote. It means to achieve state of heightened awareness in which the basic separation between the self and what is out there ends. It was an aesthetic union between the human being and the God. The difference between magic and religion lies in 2 main factors. The first one, that magic takes place in nature instead of the churches. The second is that the magician, there is no place for intermediaries or priests who would wield power over others through managing people's connection with the source. In magic, expresses you make the connection with the spirit by yourself. Modern Western attempt to understand magic, overemphasis of the role of the magic man has misled people to think that magic can be practiced by the magic people only. The truth is the magic experience is open to all communities, and that the magic people themselves are just supporters who provide space and techniques for people to participate with experience. So today, it is meaning having a strong, resilient body is a key principle of good health. You should work on improving your physical endurance by keeping your body in motion and exercising. That's what I need to do. You will not only be improving your strength and physical condition, but developing character and strengthening as well. And in the other card, 4 means the ruler. Four means the ruler. The ruler is the beginning of the action, the completion, and the result. Like the consort in card 3 represents, but by power and will rather than by feeling and love. The ruler is the completed parent who has balanced this card, who has been balanced. This card is the father mother that represents self-mastery, realization, action, compassion, and stability. Is the card of leadership of all aspects. The ruler is the 4 elements. He is the 4 seasons. He is the north, south, east, and west. He is the square of all creation. To achieve his understanding, the ruler has to pass through the 4 levels of being and unite them in a way that's practical and expedient for the work which as he understood to take. To achieve this vision, the past was burned away. To achieve his ability to act, his death has become his advisor. His emotions are contained in the cup of his heart and do not flow where they will. And do not flow where they will. He is the master of his life, and he knows and knows nothing about it. The fool sees that the ruler is aware of the aspects of his being at all times. The ruler is free of his conditioned responses, no longer reacts to the stimulus of the opposite. He is not governed by their pull. There is no division, no unconscious to the ruler's mind, no hidden past, nothing suppressed. He is what it is. He sees what it is, not what he wants. He holds nothing and has nothing to lose, but has no hopes. There will not be disappointment. The aspect of the ruler is the interest. The fool is the fact that the ruler acts and does not react. He is constructive in every moment as circumstances allow him to be. A reaction is the tremendous response based upon the results of past acts. The ruler's past is burned away. He has been reborn. So the message is, try to pull this all together. It's not way back there. So the message of the ruler is, for those of you that your achievements, if your achievements in life left you unbalanced, and there's a new path to take, that's kind of what it's saying. It's saying that you, as the ruler, you don't act on emotion anymore. You make the motion, and you have a balance. Now, where it comes to what this said as the Khan or the snake, what it says is idea ordering of power growth, and that's like the the ruler, generative principles, sex and reproduction, and the glyph is actually a snake's tongue, if I remember right. So that's where it ties into the lizard. And so if that hits with anybody, I hope it's helpful, because I give freely. See if there's any more divination in it. Yeah, sight. Yeah. Realization, knowledge, benefits, companion, stability, and sight. So if you have an idea, you see it, this might be the time to go for it. This might be right for you to go for it. The energy is coming out of the south, this new day. And that's, it's just as each day has a color, each day also has a direction, and so it's almost like if you can imagine a Muslim, how a Muslim only prays in one way, but if you work with directional energy, you would pray to that direction, because that's where the energy flows into the Mayan calendar and from Americas, because that's what people fail to understand is the Mayan calendar is part of the Americas calendars. Any of us that had one drop of blood that started in this country, this is all magic that's out there for us. This is part of our culture as well, our stolen culture, our stolen history. This is, when they did the Fahrenheit, 451, when they burned away all the old culture, destroyed it so it wouldn't survive. So you only know what they brought afterwards. So if that resonates with anybody, then, I give freely to that. That's all. What will next week be? Week 15? Yeah, week 14. Got to copy that and get out there. Where am I at? I'm at 2.5 hours. Damn. I guess I'll close. But as I was saying, Richard Pryor once said, it's hard enough just being a damn human being. And then you being a human being, and you gotta life is a tough enough struggle as it is. Then you throw in that racism shit, and then you should throw in that privilege shit, and to some people it feels like, will the foot ever come off your neck? And just to be judged by, the melanin in your skin is that's the system they created, and they try to say that it's not real, but it's still real. Just like we see in Trump and his people, doing away with a lot of these programs, where if a lot of these programs weren't in effect, they, things ain't equal. And if these programs weren't in effect, they wouldn't include everybody. And they know that. And that'd be my one disagreement with what they are saying of getting rid of all the ethnic considerations. Because what we've seen is, if you're not forced to fuck with melanated people, then you leave them out. And now, they talking about the bread and jobs, and there's going to be no consideration for the next 4 years. Well, really 2. Because they already know. And what's funny is say this equity shit goes away. I mean, they'll really, whoever, say a Democrat wins the next time, he'll never reinstall this stuff. They'll try to be like it never existed. Because that's the reality. Is there wasn't forced, like affirmative action, they turned that into helping European women. That's what Bill Clinton turned it into, helping European women that were never meant to be on there as a protected class of people. And that's how fucked up, the laws are, is there's a protective class of people that history shows have been wronged over and over again. That's not victimization. That's history. And that's what they want to call it. They want to call history victimization. But if this society shows a certain history, a certain habit, doesn't make me, I do become a victim, because this is a practice that you've done over and over and over again. Regardless of what this is, that's what's practiced. I mean, we had our time where we wanted to be separate. But your greed is, you saw the bread we had and we were spending with each other. Your greed made you integrate with us. Because of the technology that came from 1920 to now that was created by melanated people, if melanated people would have used that for themselves only, we would have surpassed you. We would have surpassed the beast. And that's what they were afraid of. They did not want these inventions to be excluded from these inventions, especially inventions that could help them militarily. They want all that shit. Because we had brothers inventing machine guns and all that shit. Granville Woods invented a telephone. So this is why they wanted us integrated. Because they wanted our ideas. So, well, I think 2.5 hours is long enough. I hope you liked it. And, I always send positive affirmance, positive energy out before I start. So if any of you get it, I think I've just joyed anyone. So if that hit you before this started or it came in, that's what I wished out there. I made it simpler. Just one word, just joy. That's all I sent out there. I try not to be intrusive because I know my reach and my abilities. And so I have to put those those warnings up there because I just try not to be intrusive, So, well, for those of you that have to work tomorrow, I feel sorry for you. But I know you got having these time off. And then knowing that you're going to have another 4-day weekend coming along with a couple of days off for the change of the year. you know, because again, the year only changes because they tell us it does. It really ain't got to change. If we just said, fuck, we want it to stay 2024 forever. There's nothing they could do about it but say, okay. If that's what the people demanded, people be like, fuck you, quit, you know, we don't want any more year change. We want it to be 24 forever. we decide that. And, you know, but the people are so divided that, what do we decide, you know? And I don't know if, you know, my words or my attitudes brings people together or not. I don't know. Can't really say. But what did he say? Even though when I'm wrong, I'm right. Because this, you know, my attitudes and my compassions, you know, it took 63 years to get here. It's like, what's funny is, you know, like some of my partners that are Indians, American Indians, like they argue about them being American Indians and them doing more research, which, you know, there's no argument about it. You did the research. Why are you arguing? Because they're always in like almost attack mode. Even Turtle Gang gets caught up into that. I ain't got to argue who I am. I ain't got to argue the way the Olmec live, the way the Mayan, Toltec live. I ain't got to argue none of that. It's enough of that out there for you to have your own understanding. Now, I can add to a lot of that understanding, but to argue about it, and that's all I think about is to argue about it, I don't understand that part. It's like, after a while, what's to argue? You know, there's nothing more to argue. That's what knowing is. Knowing takes away a lot of that argument shit. You ain't got to argue when you know. Like when you know and you're passionate about it, then why argue your position? Ain't nothing anybody gonna say gonna change you if you know. So why be in argue mode all the time? That I don't quite understand. Well, I think 2 hours. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I did come on a little later, so I'm sorry, but got my shop vac out. We had spilled a lot of cat food and shit, so I had to shop vac some shit up. Yeah, that shit picks up some shit. It can take water, and I just found out accidentally the motherfucker's a blower too. I didn't even know it did that shit, you know, so I can blow all my garage out with the shop vac. Didn't even know that. So had a little fun. Well, yeah, I guess this is enough. But it seems like there's always something more. But I think I've kept your attention long enough. So this has been your Chocolate Mountain Show. I am your host, Big Pontiac, the Time Walker, the only Time Walker, one of many Time Lords. Till we meet again, thank you very much for coming.